Well, hello, everybody.
Hey,
All right. We can actually start a little early here, Ross.
start.
Yeah.
Give me just 1 second. You caught me off guard.
All right.
Oops. Get this thing on.
That's our topic for today, everyone. Squashing fears, doubts, and limiting self worth, even when it feels like the world is against you. You ever feel like the world's against you? Hmm.
It really
Well,
isn't.
but there is something that influences your reality. We're going to talk a little bit about that today.
That's right. So, it comes down to, could it be that squashing fears and doubts and limiting self-worth
Someone says
could
there's no
come
sound. No sound?
no
Is there still
sound?
no sound? Or maybe that's just when we first started. Yes, we were kind of muted out. Can you hear us now, Angie? Give us a yes. Just go ahead, Ross. I think we've
Shows that
got
my
that in
mic
there.
is on.
Yeah, mine's it too. Yeah.
Sound check. Sound check. Sound check.
We're all good,
No,
I think. Yeah.
it's okay now. All right.
Great.
Fantastic. All right. So could it be that squashing fears and doubts and limiting self-worth could come down to one very basic simple thing. So in today's episode of Hacking the Infinity Matrix, we are going to answer that question. Well, more questions actually. So stick around and you'll see how we unravel the mystery of what you need to do to constantly feel more empowered, confident, and believe more in your worthiness to have what you want in life. So thanks for joining us today on this stream. And as you join us, go ahead, as some of you already are, you've been well conditioned. Go ahead and you got the sound, we got the video, everything's coming across okay. So tell us where in the world are you tuning in from so we can see what our global community is ever expanding. What part of the world are you coming from? So, what do we got here? We've got, well, there's a few that I already
Might be a
know.
delay in this. It might be delay in the stream on
Yep,
there. That might have been why we got the audio issue.
for sure. So, for
Yeah.
over a year now, we've talked about the power of questions. That is better questions and how they can virtually change the course of your life. And for those of you who are just snickering, you'd best listen closer and take notes because understanding the power of questions will, without a doubt, reduce fears, alleviate doubt, and level up your self worth. You've heard the phrase, knowledge is power. Well, better questions glean that knowledge. And most people's fears are that of the unknown. And now you're going to know more, or at least have better clarity. While knowledge and understanding gives you confidence and ups your sense of self worth. So if this is your first time with us, welcome. If you haven't joined the Infinity Matrix private group, consider yourself invited. So make sure you head over to facebook.com/groups/ the Infinity Matrix and join our ever growing community of over 8,000 members. And please, please be sure to answer all of the 3 questions. Otherwise, the system just drops the request. Okay. So we want to make sure that you're serious as well. So if you've requested to join but haven't been accepted, you probably got bypassed those. You probably yourself bypassed those questions. So just reapply and completely fill out the form. It's a piece of cake, really. So I have to tell you, it's been a couple of weeks since we finished the 5-day challenge. And last weekend we closed off the private group where we held it. And you know that what we are still recovering from it, with from all the feedback that's coming through from the participants, and it's just inspiring. I know a lot of people had in their mind that, oh, it's a free thing. It's going to be, it's going to be so. It's like, this was powerful. So for those of you that were able to participate, have you recovered yet? It was pretty powerful, wasn't it? So, for those of you who missed it, don't worry. The next one starts up in a few weeks, and we'll keep you posted as we lock down the details.
Yeah, we are excited to put the challenge on again. For those who missed it, we got so many great testimonials.
Yeah.
Really touched our hearts of people having massive results and transformations in such a short time. Great ahas, just revelations, and we'll actually compile them and share them on a future episode because it's worth acknowledging those who showed up and played full on for 5 full days of amazing content. So, welcome to episode 76. Wow, we're like on our way to 100, Ross. That's
No.
pretty awesome. Ah, so we like to think of these weekly episodes as mini challenges, if you will, for you to in hacking the infinity matrix. And for those of you who play along week after week, you know that you can get some pretty powerful and life-changing experiences here. So if you've been holding out on us in any way, right, make 2022 the year that you don't. We encourage you to take the ride with us and get a taste of how amazing things can be in the infinity matrix. Now, how does that look? Well, it basically means to get results, you need to participate, right? It's simple as that. Don't just turn this into background noise or another digital asset that you listen to once in a while and never do anything with. Then you walk away and wonder why your life is still has the same or similar problems that keep showing up over and over and over again. Now, I say it often. It's that this content is for those who truly want to make a shift in their reality, not for those who want to be sitting on the sidelines watching how amazing it is for everyone but them.
That's right. That's absolutely correct. So let's put to the test right away. Let's play a little bit. Make sure that you guys are paying attention because we got people here from Michigan, Portland, Tucson, Denmark, British Columbia, Puerto Vallarta, so Toronto. I mean, people are from everywhere. So, and one of the things that we have found, no matter where you're from in the world, there's a lot of similarities, a lot of them, more than we're led to believe. So let's put everything to the test right away. So whether you're listening here live or with us on a replay, um, or in the private group. So I have a question, just a simple question. It's just a question. Okay. What color is your shirt or your blouse? Drop the color down in the comments right away. Just look down, or if you don't, if you remember it, if you already know, or if you're not wearing one, no photos, please. Just go ahead and drop it down in the comments. It's clear that you can see mine and Gary's is. So, but since we can't see yours, go ahead, help us out by playing along and answering that question. Real quick, real quick, real quick. Pink, black.
Right.
Uh,
Awesome.
so they're popping in. Okay. So after hearing that question, what were you thinking about? The obvious answer is the color of your clothes. And although this exercise may seem lackluster or even ordinary, it has profound implications. Because my question, my simple little question, momentarily hijacked your thought process and focused it entirely on your clothes. You didn't consciously tell your brain to think about that, it just did so automatically. So, the proper use of questions is a powerful tool to learn and develop both the questions you ask to the world around you and the questions you ask of yourself. Not only does hearing a question affect what your brain does in that instant, it also can shape your future behavior. Gary, I'm getting a little bit of echo. Are you hearing?
I don't hear it. No.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Does anybody else hear an echo? No? Okay. All right. Let's move on. So,
Hmm.
asking a question has profound effects on your perception of the world and the world's perception of you. And that can be a powerful foundation for your life.
Well, some people are getting an echo, Ross. Sorry.
Okay.
We got a delay on everything. Maybe it's just the platform.
Must be the service.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, bear with us. We're going to move on. Okay. So, where was I? Okay. So, we know that you've been taught since birth to not question your parents, your elders, teachers, authority figures, or the rules. So, what I want you to do now is throw that training out the window. Just pluck it from your mind, throw it on the floor, and stomp on it. Just do it. Just stomp on it. It's gone. Okay? No longer applies. Let me be a bit clearer. Ross has lost it. Um, you'll still listen to all those people that I listed, but now with a more inquisitive ear and a subtle tongue. You'll ask questions, but I didn't say be an ass or a jerk or foolish or confrontational. Rather, use finesse, use diplomacy. Be kind yet inquisitive. You're taking the higher road, always. Besides, in most cases, what you're really asking for is clarity and definition so you can better understand them and their intentions. And they'll appreciate that. So if you have the opportunity to ask, then do it. 80% of the time, probably more, you'll get what you asked for. And in cases where the reply is because I said so, or don't question me or my authority, or some variation of this, then different, deeper questions need to be asked of yourself. But when it comes to situations when you don't have this convenience, like the news, social media, advertising, physicians, governmental rules, the questions are going to be different now. We're not telling you to defy authority. We're not telling you to get yourself fired or get divorced, because the first question you'll be asking yourself is, why do I or why should I believe or comply with this information and or this request? Where did I learn that this is the end all be all? Are there other sources, better sources that I can compare with? Because what you're doing is you're using this method to observe and interpret. So you can, if warranted, respond, thus continually to remain in the eye of the storm.
Yeah, you're right, Ross. And on the surface, people tend to underestimate the power of what we're demonstrating here,
Yep.
especially if you think about, how many questions we ask in our lifetime, right? And even the patterns of that. I mean, did you know that on average, kids between the ages of 2 and 5, well, let me ask, how many questions do you think kids ask between the age of 2 and 5? Throw some numbers in the chat for me, and let me know what you think that number is. Between the age 2 and 5, research shows that kids tend to ask about a certain amount of questions, and then it drastically drops down when they start to reach older ages and adulthood. Okay, so let's see if we got any numbers there. How many questions do you think between age 2 and 5? What do you think the questions are? We'll wait on that. Still no response.
There's definitely a lag.
Yeah, I think
1
there's
million.
there 1 million. Dan.
You have a
Um,
toddler.
yeah. So, um, It's not quite a million, but it is a lot. And it's actually, they say approximately 40,000 questions between the age 2 and 5. Okay, so they're actually verbalizing. A million would be a lot of talking, nonstop. 40, still a lot of talking, trust me. But for those of you who have kids, know that. But it's 40,000 questions between age 2 and 5, and then when you turn adult, that drastically drops down drastically, right? And it's a lot of questions in that age range. And you have you ever wondered why so many questions, and why at that time frame of life? And then when did that change for you? Right? Let's explore that for a moment. At around 2, most of us start to formulate language and therefore improve our capacity to communicate. Some a little earlier, some a little later, but around age 2. And we finally get to inquire about this foreign place that we showed up in 2 years ago, right? And for the last couple years, we haven't understood, all this stuff, and haven't been understood, and we wonder why all the other beings couldn't figure out what we needed or what we wanted. And there are so many things that just don't make sense. So you use your newly developed skill and try to get clarity that you need by asking questions. After all, if the environment is communicating to you and impacting the way your cells, your atoms, your molecules function, like Dr. Bruce Lipton brought to us, brought to light in The Biology of Belief, then that means communication between the external infinity matrix and the internal infinity matrix is what creates the reality we experience. And there's all kinds of evidence in science to prove that now. So we can all agree to that, right? If you agree, give me a good thumbs up in the chat so that I know we're on board, we're on the same page. And so between the age of 2 and 5, the amount of questions kids are asking is massive. And the types of questions is our way as human beings of waking up to an awareness of how we're going to play in this matrix. What is this thing called reality? How can we understand even more so that we can navigate through it? And as we fumble along the way to find out who we truly are and who we are not. But when you get older, as you get older, as I mentioned, the quantity of questions get less and less. It's no coincidence it starts to happen right around the age of entering a school system that is highly focused on telling you how to think and what to think.
Yeah.
And then all the societal influences that tell you, like Rossi mentioned, don't rock the boat, don't ask questions, just do as you tell. And those types of messages continue to bombard us. So it's no wonder so many people develop fears, because the less you know about something, the more fear you tend to have about it. And the less you know about something, the more doubt you have around it. And the more fears that you have combined with the increased doubts about yourself and the world around you, the lower your perception of your self-worth is. They all tend to work together. And again, as Ross mentioned, you observe. So the pattern using is you're observing the fears, you interpret the doubts, and then you respond with limiting self-worth.
Exactly. So you've heard the adage of the one who asks the questions controls the conversation. This comes from research in neuroscience that has found that the human brain can only think about one idea at a time. When your brain is thinking about the answer to a question, it can't contemplate anything else. So when you ask somebody a question, you force their minds to consider only your question. So, on a different note, this also explains why research has shown that multitasking is also a myth because we are biologically incapable of processing attention rich inputs simultaneously. So, when you think you're multitasking, your mind is actually like a ping pong ball going back and forth from topic to topic to topic. So,
Very
now with that,
fast. Yeah.
very fast, yes. And now, with that said, though, there are some people who are very, very good at this. And likewise, human beings consciously operate largely in serial fashion. The more demanding the task, the more we are single minded towards it. So, questions are that powerful. Questions are so powerful that behavioral scientists have found that just asking people about their future decisions significantly influences those decisions, a phenomenon known as mere measurement effect. A study of more than 40,000 participants revealed that simply asking someone if people were going to purchase a new car within 6 months increased their purchase rates by 35%. You can kind of call this planting the seed. Another reason why I've always said that the most powerful force in the universe is an idea, a seed. This is why you see many governments and dictators throughout history controlling the flow of information, burning books, ideas, locking people up for asking the wrong questions, actually, probably the right questions. Also, why we, Gary and I, are so focused on keeping the fertile soil of your mind as clean and cultivated as possible. An idea rich environment for those seeds to germinate and grow, which is another reason why we developed our soon to be launched Master Labs. That's all that's about. So, how many of you can see where we're going with this? Yes or no? Just pop it down in the comments. In the Journal of Applied Psychology, asking citizens whether they were going to vote in an upcoming election increases the likelihood that they will by 25%. Planted another seed. And yet, in another study, researchers found that asking about one's intention to give blood raised donation rates by a modest, 8 to 9%. Planting another seed simply by asking a question. The same effect has been found in studies involving sales, exercise frequency, health decisions. In each case, all of these behaviors can be increased just by asking questions about them. So, why do questions have such an influence on the decision making process? Mostly because they prompt the brain to contemplate a behavior, which increases the probability that it will be acted upon. Hence, the repetition you see on TV and radio commercials, politicians, and the like, all are trying to link themselves with the stimulation of this behavior. For decades and decades, we've known that research found that more the brain contemplates a behavior, the more likely it is that we will engage in that behavior. And that's not all. They're also trying to stimulate the reticular activating system, the part of the brain that seeks out what is top of mind. If they can create a spark, touch a nerve, elicit an emotion in the RAS, then it will seek the targeted subject out and you won't see it coming.
Yeah, or even worse, you'll see it coming and you'll feel so disempowered that you feel that you can't
Right.
even do anything about it,
Exactly.
right? And here's another way to look at this as we apply to squashing fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs. As a master hypnotherapist, I came to realize that it came down to the quality of the questions that we were asking. And this was a huge lesson for me. I started to become hyper aware of all the limiting type of questions that clients were asking themselves and others in relation to the problems that they had. And then when we started talking about things they were good at, passionate, or even excited about, the quality of the questions changed. I started wondering, why is that? Well, here's why. After really playing with it and testing this out, working with myself as well as with clients over the years, I found that when you ask a question, your unconscious mind, and your conscious mind to some degree, has no choice. It's just a process that's ingrained in who you are, somehow hardwired into our DNA. But your mind has no choice but to actively go out and search for an answer to that question. Now, here's the thing. The thing I realized over the years is the answer doesn't always necessarily have to be the right answer. It doesn't. It's just on a search because there is this need to have that feeling again, like that 2 to 5 year old. It needs to find out, where does this fit? How does this fit in the puzzle of reality that I'm experiencing? So when you ask that question, it's kind of like a micro hack where you momentarily tell the brain, whatever you're doing right now, in this moment, I want you to put some attention on that. And if you don't get an answer right away, stick with it until you find one. Even if you have to make one up that can somehow be backed up, right? So think about it. Um, a 2 to 5 year old, in the 2 to 5 year old stage of asking why for everything, even when they get an answer, they also sometimes ask why that answer, right? It's that cycle. So why, right? They're persistent. And that's what your unconscious does with any type of question that's posed. It doesn't filter it. It doesn't judge it. It doesn't say, that's a good question, Gary, or that really, you should really think about that. It doesn't filter it. It just takes it in, and over again, it will ask until it gets an answer that it is satisfied with. And
Okay.
as we, and as we grow up, we stop that why cycle because our unconscious minds don't. We verbally stop it, but our unconscious mind keep that process going. So your mind still asks those unanswered questions, but it's the quality of the question, right? So they're still lingering. They're kind of dancing around. They're waiting for something to latch onto. And again, it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be empowering. It just has to feel that it's enough to latch onto to say, okay, I'm satisfied with that answer.
I have things dancing around in my head all the time. So, all right. Are you ready to take control? Are you really, really ready to take control? When you use questions, you gain an edge in conversations and negotiations. You lead the discussion. Scientists used functional magnetic resonance imaging. They found that questions that asked participants to disclose their opinions increased neural activity in the areas of the brain associated with reward and pleasure. That one blew me away. As a result, the right questions won't just demonstrate your expertise, it can subtly make an interviewer more receptive to you, just by virtue of eliciting their personal views. Questions are so ingrained in human communication that it is easy to underestimate their impact on our brains. Yet science has proven that they're an effective tool for strengthening connections between people and gaining influence, which can be pretty useful. So just imagine what is happening when you are watching or reading the news. What is happening when you are watching or reading advertisements? And sadly, this applies to a lot of the dribble that's on social media as well. There's several hundred, no, thousands of media sites that tailor and ask specific questions, not offering any answers or solutions, only designed to covertly ask questions to steer your thought processes in a particular direction. Planting seeds, ideas, opinions, questions, and narratives, along with many news organizations that have also adapted this. No longer being the source for what's going on in the world, but sadly, just a vehicle of subterfuge and opinion.
Mhm.
So, what do you do with all this information? You be aware, be very aware. So, I'll close with this tidbit. Did you know I can change your body chemistry by asking you a question? Can you remember the taste of the last lemon you touched to the tip of your tongue? See what I just did? You're salivating. And all I did was ask you a question, and just thinking about it can shift your perception and cause your body to alter its own chemistry.
Now, how do you know you're not just salivating for more of the Infinity Matrix content? Maybe.
I did
I
not
don't
plan that lead in.
know. Well, you don't know yet. If you did, you might want to come and join us on Down the Rabbit Hole Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. PST or PDT now. It's a live Zoom call where you're invited to join us for extended conversations about today's topic and other things that come up. It's a great opportunity for you to ask questions, share your wins, insights, and hear from other members on their journey of growth and their evolution. It's free. All you have to do is go to the Zoom link. I'll put it up on the screen here. Um, Rabbit hole right there. It's scrolling on the bottom. All you have to do is just go to that link, hackingtheinfinitymatrix.com/rabbit hole. Come and join us. We have lots of fun. It's a great community that we're growing there. And remember, I said earlier that the more you participate, the bigger results you get. Well, that's a part of that. Come and participate and get more info. Get more deeper understanding of the topics. Ask your questions. Share your insights and your wins. So the more interaction you have, the more transformation you'll get, hands down, right? Here's another opportunity for you to demonstrate your participation level. I'm curious. Go ahead and tell us in the chat, what kind of fears do you have that are preventing you from living your best life? That's one question. I'm going to ask a couple here. All right, and just drop them in as I talk about them. What kind of fears do you have that are preventing you from living your best life? Second one, how has doubt crept into your reality and stopped you from doing things that you wanted to do? How has doubt crept into your reality and stopped you from doing things that you wanted to do? And the third question, what impact have those had on your self-worth? All right, so we got some coming in. Great. So fear of change, and millions. Oh no, some of them. I don't know what to choose. Just pick any.
The most
um,
reoccurring one, I guess, would be the best answer there.
yeah. Um, and I have a friend that always asks questions when I'm telling a story, tell something. I don't like it because I just want to tell the story. Yeah, because they're kind of hijacking your thoughts, right, Carolyn? Um, and the thing is, the person who controls the questions controls the conversation, right? Controls the direction of the conversation. Fear of criticism, fear of failure. All
Hmm.
right, good. So we have some of those coming in now. How has doubt crept into your reality and stopped you from doing things you wanted to do? Think about that. And then what impact have those had on your self-worth? And if you're new to our streams, you don't, and you, I don't, we don't expect you to be open, to open up in this short time frame in this way. But if you've been on our streams with us before, go ahead and tell us in the comments. I'll repeat them again. What kind of fears do you have that are preventing you from living your best life? How has doubt crept into your reality and stopped you from doing things you wanted to do? And what some of those things are? And what impact have those had on your self-worth? And the reason I ask you to do that is because if you remember, we've talked about it in a few episodes now, um, and Ross has kind of alluded to it, and I've alluded to it to here today. You first need to observe the reality you want to change, bringing it to awareness. That's the first thing. And you have to do that. You have to observe that reality before you can interpret what it means or how it impacts you. And when you interpret what it means or how it impacts you, you can then choose to respond in a more empowering way. So it starts with that, starts with the observing what's in your reality, creating the outcomes you get. And then what's the interpretation of what that means to you and how it impacts you. Then you can respond in a more empowering way. All right. And of course, if you don't want to put yourself out there in, Facebook land, I get it too. All right. But for your own benefit, at least, make a note on those three questions. In fact, I'm going to challenge you here. I'd suggest that you journal on those three questions over the next week and see what you come up with.
That's a great
Keep
idea.
keep asking on those. What are the fears that are preventing you from living your best life? How has doubt crept into your reality? And what has it stopped you from doing? What impact have those had on your self-worth? Okay, I challenge you to do that for your practice and your growth this week. Okay, and once you have the answers, once answers start coming to you, then go back and work on generating more empowering questions in those areas. How can you think about it differently? What are other options? Open up the questions that could squash the fear, that could turn the doubts into confidence and transform your self-worth to acknowledge your true value of yourself to those around you and to the planet. So let all that sink into your unconscious in a way that would serve you, in the way that serves you best. And if you join us, if you enjoyed the stream and the topic and the content you got today, join us on Saturday, Down the Rabbit Hole segment, where we can also help you to come up with more quality questions. All right, it's a good place for us to have that back and forth dialogue. So come and jump on there if you're not sure, if stuff starts coming up and you're not sure how to turn them around or how to ask different questions, definitely jump on and share with us on that platform, and we'll be more than happy to help you. And seriously, it's a lot of fun. It's such a fun time. There's always new people joining. Now it's your turn. So block off Saturday morning, 8 a.m. PDT. Go to hackingtheinfinitematrix.com/rabbit hole. Get the Zoom link. We'll see you there. That's our stream for today, everyone. Thanks for sticking around, participating today. We really appreciate, and we appreciate you. We're very grateful to have you join us on these streams. Till next time, be well, everyone. Remember, we dare you to be exceptional. Implement these hacks and master the art of designing your reality.